The stories making waves in Montreal. The Big Five with Elias Makos from News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
This Quebecer, Quebec-born individual bears an uncanny resemblance to a younger Tom Cruise, to the point now where he's making a living in California as a lookalike, as a maverick, Top Gun maverick interpreter. Welcome to CJAD 800, Jerome Leblanc. How are you, Jerome?
Good morning, Trudy.
Morning. So pleased to be able to speak to you.
Likewise.
Tell us about your resemblance to Maverick, the character Maverick, to the younger Tom Cruise, I would say. When did you realize that you bore a likeness to him?
Well, first of all, it's the only look I got. When I moved to Los Angeles in 2009, that's when I started getting, oh my God, you look like Tom Cruise. And not really sure what to do with it. I did one event and it led to another one, and it was just a snowball effect.
At the time, were you trying to get into acting?
No, I was into architecture at UCLA.
And when you started to get recognized and you started to do gigs, at one point did you get an inkling that, wow, I could really turn this into something, I could really do this virtually full time?
So I met my wife in Los Angeles, and we moved to San Diego, where the movie was filmed, and seeing all the filming location and all this and the demand for the character, I started doing corporate events and trade shows, conventions, and that's when I saw that it was a target-rich environment.
That is a line that Maverick would use, a target-rich environment, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
Tell us... go ahead.
No, and trust me, by now my ego is writing checks my body can't cash.
All right. I noticed that you're careful to call yourself a Top Gun Maverick interpreter, not a Tom Cruise impersonator. Why are you separating those and making a difference between them?
It just, I think that the line is fine where I want to protect myself with not saying I am a Tom Cruise impersonator, since Maverick is more of a fictional character than the actor himself.
How did you prepare to become Maverick?
Doing it daily. First of all, I had a very strong, thick French accent at first. So my wife's from New Jersey. I watched the movie several times. She helped me with the dialect of sounding more, American, or and just practicing getting on stage, and in the consistency of doing a character brought me to where I am right now.
It must require quite a bit of discipline to, not try to freestyle. If you get bored, for example, not try to freestyle the character, to really try and remain true to that character as it appeared in the movie.
Well, last night I was on the aircraft carrier, so being in those locations really helps, like with all the aircrafts around, the F-14 is there, and seeing the guests freaking out over just the look. And I think it brings them back into the 80s. It's the nostalgia. I think my character is so on point that, it does a psychological effect on people where the era of the 80s was completely different. And by bringing the guests back in the 80s, it's just, as cheesy as it sounds, it brings back that loving feeling,
Yeah, that's another great scene from that movie. Absolutely. Is it a challenge to maintain your body for the role? Because, the haircut would have to be perfect. How you present, how you smile has to be perfect for people to buy into the illusion that you are Maverick.
Absolutely. And luckily, I have the same hair and all this in terms of staying fit and running as fast as Tom Cruise. I train every day. very early, and having a fourth child on the way kind of pushes me, to push the envelope and staying fit and making sure that I can continue this career.
Have you ever met Tom Cruise?
No, I was close for the Top Gun Maverick premiere here in San Diego, but Paramount didn't allow me to be present.
Oh, that's a bummer. It would have been a great meeting.
I think it's absolutely. It's the 26 years difference, and the fact that I'm, I don't know if it was his spotlight, and I understand that.
Yeah, I get that. Are you taller than Tom Cruise?
I would say about maybe 3 inches. I'm 5'8".
Okay. Tell us about some of the events that you've done, some of the memorable events where you've been hired to portray Maverick from Top Gun.
So recently I did the NASCAR event here in San Diego on Coronado Island. That was like incredible. It was a completely different audience, and each event is really, really unique. I'm going to Australia next week for an air show, so that should be fantastic. It's really meeting people in aviation that are like inspired by the character of Maverick, and all these pilots that joined the military became pilots due to the movie. I mean, they're just thrilled meeting me, even though I'm just an impersonator.
Have you had to learn about aviation in order to chit-chat with them and be credible in the role?
Absolutely, which I had no clue before. Like I said, I was in architecture, so it really opened a lot of doors for me.
One of the things I read about in the National Post in their profile of you is that you sometimes appear at events alongside a lookalike for Val Kilmer, who plays the kind of the villain in the Top Gun movies.
So over the years, I've been doing this for 17 years. About 6 years ago, I encountered this gentleman. He says, "Hey, I get the look of Iceman." I said, "Well, let's give it a shot." And we start doing air shows all around the United States together, and people love the duo of, him telling me that I'm dangerous, I'm unsafe, and doing the bite. And it's just, we've been singing "You've Lost That Loving Feeling" at bars. It's been incredible. It's been a fun journey.
Have you ever gone into a bar where you're not supposed to, you haven't been hired to perform, and the two of you have sung that song? Because that would be so cool to...
We have.
Oh, and what was the reaction of the crowd?
Oh, people join along, and they sing together. It's really, really, really endearing.
One of our texters just texted, "Wow, I just Googled Jerome. Does he ever look like Maverick?" How long, Jerome, do you think you can carry on? We have seen the older Maverick now in the follow-up movie, the follow-up Top Gun movie. So theoretically, you could continue portraying him for years and years.
Absolutely, and that's my goal. I think I have another decade or two if I, stay healthy and fit and age the same. I always say my dad looks like Joe Pesci, so I know where I'm going. I'm going to have to do Utes.
I also wanted to slip this in because I thought it was that you've mentioned that earlier on you were studying architecture before your career took a different path. You're also an artist. What type of art do you create?
So I do a lot of classic cars and architectural drawings. And one event that I did several years ago as Maverick in Melbourne, Australia, for a charity, we were racing vintage cars on the track. And it's to raise funds for children with cancer. And I introduced my artwork to the charity, and they loved it. So every quarter, I sent about 15 to 20 paintings to Melbourne, Australia, and so far we've raised, with my artwork, almost $150,000.
Oh, isn't that impressive? That must make you feel great.
Oh, yeah, helping others, if we switch to a different movie, help me help you, that's how life works.
I just want to close off the interview by asking you to tell the story about how you met your wife, because it is Maverick related. And she was a very self-possessed woman to do what she did. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And she made me chase her to New Jersey, but she had me at hello.
She saw you at an appearance, didn't she?
She saw me on Hollywood Boulevard because my first years I was street performing. Being on a student visa as a French Canadian in the United States, you come to study. With the funds, you're not allowed to work while studying. Well, I needed to work, so I couldn't find a job in Los Angeles. So I was working on the street, and she walked up to me, and she says, quote, "I know you get a lot of phone numbers, but choose me, I'm different." And she sure is.
My hat is off to her. And to you for realizing what you had there. So.
And her name is Nicole, ironically.
That's fun, too. Jerome Leblanc, we wish you the very best of luck. Good luck with both your Maverick interpretation and also with your artwork.
Well, thank you, Trudy. I really appreciate it. And I hope I do a flyby next time I'm in Montreal.
Yes, it would be fun. We'd love to have you in studio. Jerome Leblanc, Top Gun Maverick interpreter, based now in California, originally from Quebec. When we return, we will talk to you about who you look alike or your encounters with lookalikes. We started talking about this yesterday, and it got so many cool texts that I think we've got a lot of stories out there. 514-790-0800. I'm also going to talk briefly with Andrew Carter about who he looks like and some of his lookalike encounters. That's coming up. 514-790-0800.
iHeartRadio is throwing it back.
2010s, the decade.
To the days of huge hits and unforgettable anthems. A non-stop stream of the biggest and best.
Drake, Rihanna, Beyonce, Katy, Gaga, The Weeknd,
And more. All your decade-defining favorites all in one place.
Hi, it's Katy Perry.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
This is Kesha.
Find 2010's The Decade on the free iHeartRadio app. Preset the station so it's always one tap away. Time is valuable. Thanks for spending your morning with us. The Elias Macco Show on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
After chatting with former Quebecer Jerome Leblanc, who is now working in California and beyond as a Top Gun Maverick interpreter because of his resemblance to a younger Tom Cruise. We're talking to you about lookalikes. Do you look like somebody famous? Have you been mistaken for that person? Have you mistaken someone for a celebrity and thought that they, maybe you walked up and asked for an autograph or something? 514-790-0800. I'm interrupting Andrew Carter's morning workout. I think he said he was going to be at the gym, but he has a lookalike story to tell us. Good morning again, Andrew.
Hey, Trudy, how are you? I just saw Aislinn, because our cartoonist at the gym. He goes to the same gym here in Dorval. I was just thinking about following around somebody who looks famous. I thought I was in Bloomingdale's in Chicago years ago, and I was convinced it was Carla from Cheers. What's her name? What's the actress's name?
Oh, married to Danny DeVito for a while?
Yeah, my wife said you're crazy. I followed her around the store, and it looks like I creeped her out. I was sure it was her. I got on the bus one time, and a woman says to me, "Anthony Bourdain. Do you ever get Anthony?" And I said, "No, I'm not Anthony Bourdain." But the best one was in New York. I was at a Barnes & Noble bookstore on Broadway, and this guy comes up to me. He's a younger man, and of course, there's a lot of aspiring actors in New York. And he was convinced that I was Tom Bergeron from Dancing with the Stars.
Oh.
And he wouldn't take no for an answer. The friend of mine who I was with, she's a little bit of a joker, so she said, "Yeah, that's him. That's Tom Bergeron." And so he wouldn't let me go until I helped him get an agent. He wanted to know how to get an agent, talent agent. So I think at the end I had to take his number just to shut him up and get him out of my face. And and say, I'll get my agent to call you.
Ooh. Wow. You know what? Yeah. I think it's your hair, Andrew, because if you look at Anthony Bourdain and you look at Tom Bergeron, similar type of hair that you have. So I totally get that connection.
How much does this guy make being a Tom Cruise impersonator?
It's full time. He told us he's going to be in Australia at an air show next week. Yeah. And last night he was on an aircraft carrier.
And he must get paid pretty well to do this. So it's
200 gigs a year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good for him. Well,
maybe you have a future, Andrew.
Maybe. Who knows? Nice to have a future. You never know in radio, right?
I never know.
You have a good day.
Enjoy your workout, Andrew. Thanks for checking in with us. We appreciate it. This texter from yesterday said, I was at a resort in the Caribbean. Someone asked for my autograph. They thought I was that Michael Imperioli guy from The Sopranos. I did sign a soccer ball for them. Word got around I had people coming up to me. Joseph texted yesterday, in my younger days, I was told I looked like Mark Spitz. When I was a teenager and on the swim team at a local, I had such a crush on Mark Spitz. He's the American swimmer who won, I think it was 7 medals at one of the Olympics. It must have been the one before Montreal. Very, very handsome guy. And he adds, at one time, I could easily have passed for Tim Foley of the Expos, whom I had met in Old Quebec. Even his then bunny girlfriend said that we looked like twins. Tim Foley. Wow. 514-790-0800. Nancy from Magog joins us now. Hi, Nancy. Do you have a look-alike story?
Well, my sister, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My sister and I were on vacation, Cayo Santa Maria, and we were coming back along the causeway in this bus on the way back to the resort. When I said to my sister, I said, look at that guy. I said, he looks just like Sidney Crosby. And she says, well, who's Sidney Crosby? I said, oh, for God's sakes, the hockey player. And he looked exactly like him, and he was dressed in, just the higher-end clothing and whatnot. And so I said, I got to ask him. I tapped him on the shoulder, and I said, excuse me, but I said, would you happen to be or related to Sidney Crosby? And there was a little bit of silence, and he looked at me. And his wife was there, and she says, oh, for God's sakes, here we go again. He looked exactly like him. I couldn't get off that bus before asking the man that, but spitting image of him. And ironically, he was from Nova Scotia.
Oh, hey, bonus. All right. He must get stopped all the time. So,
she told me of a couple of things, and incidents at work where he works and whatnot, and some of his coworkers came in with this great big placard of the actual Sidney Crosby, as if, okay, here we go.
Yeah. Great story, Nancy. Thanks very much for calling to share it. 514-790-0800. This texter says, many years ago, I was at a wedding in the U.S. and someone asked me if I was Shelley Long from Cheers. I said no, but they insisted. What do you do in that situation? Like Andrew, you want to move on with your day and someone's being insistent. Do you sign the autograph as Shelley Long? My late husband, says this texter, looked very much like Jason Momoa. Gorgeous. You are right. Wow. That's someone I would have loved to meet. A lookalike for Jason Momoa. This texter, Al from Roxborough, says, when I was young in my 20s, I looked like Tom Jones. And now people think I look like a retired Yvon Cornwallis. That was while at a Delalo's restaurant in Verdun. Yeah. Yvon Cornwallis, I think I would recognize too. So I'm not surprised. He's still a very memorable person here in Quebec. Eugene from Saint Laurent on the line. Hi, Eugene. Do you have a lookalike story?
Good morning.
Morning.
I walked into a shopping mall yesterday morning, and when I walked in, there was a lady, and I thought I was standing in front of my sister that lives 900 kilometers away. Her hair, her demeanor, I was going to say, Eva. And I said, no, this cannot be Eva because, exactly her eyes, her face, same height, something unbelievable.
Well, you know, they say every one of us has a doppelganger somewhere.
Yes.
So maybe that was hers, Eugene. Thank you very much for calling. Few people told my son he looked like Robert Redford. That's in from the text line. And Mike says, 30 years ago, my wife was mistaken a few times for tennis player Steffi Graf. Again, what do you do in that situation? Do you sign the autograph if they're insistent? I think that'd be an interesting dilemma. Maybe we should do like a little ethical question based on lookalikes. What would you do? In my younger years, I was told I look like Sharon Stone. That's very nice. A friend of mine was approached in Miami by a mother and daughter who thought he was Michael Bublé. He played along and had a drink with them. To this day, they probably have a great story about how they had a drink with Bublé. This person says, I was mistaken for Celine Dion twice in a short time, which I did not like. I don't know, why not? I think that there could be worse people to be mistaken for. Thanks to everyone who weighed in on that. I'm going to have a drink of water, I think, while James Foster is updating the news. And then, oh yes, Judge Trudy will be presiding over traffic court.
This newscast is brought to you by Supermarché Acavan. Discover fresh halal barbecue meats, hot bread made daily, homemade hummus, delicious prepared foods, and your favorite Persian products. Supermarché Acavan.
Why, yes, it is time for traffic court. I'm digging out my gavel. It's under my newspaper somewhere or other. I'm getting my robe on, and I will be presiding. If you have a traffic ticket that you felt was unjust, give me a call and put it to the test. Put it before Judge Trudy at traffic court. 514-790-0800.
Your mom told you not to talk back. But we feel very differently. In fact,
we want you to talk back and record your comment via the CJAD 800 page on the iHeartRadio app.
Another way to have your say on the voice of the community.
News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
In the CJAD 800 traffic court system, the participants are represented by two separate yet equally important groups. The CJAD listeners who commit the infractions and Elias Makos, who judges the offenders. These are their stories.
You've heard the chaos. Now you can see it. Oh my God. Watch all your favorite podcasts from start to finish right inside the free iHeartRadio app.
Gets the blood going, huh?
Catch every laugh and eye roll on shows like the Tom Green Farmcast and Park the Bus. Now with full video.
We're building a ramp for Tony Hawk.
It's the same hosts and the same chemistry with all the hilarious moments you've been missing right on your screen.
Cheers.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search video podcasts, and tap watch.
Next thing I knew, the sirens were blaring, and he pulled me over, and he said, you ran the red light.
So, wondering if I can go contest it, but unfortunately I don't have any evidence.
Lindo, you got bigger issues here.
Police officer pulled me over and said that my registration and license had expired.
Boy.
So you got to check with Fact Click.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I believe it's my constitutional right not to wear a seatbelt. I don't.
What?
He came out the car, and I said, guilty, guilty, guilty. Don't give me a lecture, just give me the ticket. And he was laughing.
You better have stopped there, Stephen.
I tried, but I was on ice and snow.
Can you handle the truth?
I could handle it. Go for it.
Jeannie, you shouldn't have parked there. I mean, like, you're on camera. You admitted it on CJAD. You were doing it.
The thing is that the 40 is written so far that you can't even see it.
Cry me a river.
Why did they use this one type of sign?
It doesn't matter. I'm just the CJAD fun radio judge. The real judge is going to throw the book at you.
Traffic Court. Elias Makos considers your case on CJAD 800.
Trudy Mason sitting in as the fun radio judge today in traffic court. kicking off with a text that came to us. I got a ticket in Verdun once for not having reflectors on my bicycle wheels. 20 years old at the time, forgot all about it. Few years later, I bought a car, and when I went to register it, I couldn't because I had an outstanding ticket which had become valued at over $100 for missing reflectors. So the bicycle ticket prevented him from registering the car. That is one of the knock-on consequences of not paying your tickets, of kind of forgetting about them, letting them go under the radar. Ignore them at your peril. I have gotten a few in the past. Well, I've been driving since I was 16. So since I was 16, I think I've gotten 3 moving violations over those years. And I've always made a point of paying them as soon as I could because, yeah, guilty, and I want it off my plate. I don't want to constantly be reminded by seeing that unpaid ticket in my documents folder where I keep all my bills that have to be. I don't want to see it there. I don't want to be reminded of my stupidity behind the wheel of my scofflaw move. I don't want to be reminded. So if I can, and now that you can pay them, through banks, go right away. Soon as I can get to the bank, pay it, be done with it, admit guilt, move on. That's kind of the way I approach this type of thing. But it's been years and years and years since I got the third one. So 514-790-0800 as your Fun Radio traffic judge. I'd be happy to adjudicate your case if you feel you were ticketed unjustly. As usual on Traffic Court, Maxime Cadot, content producer for the Elias Macco Show, joins us at this point to update us on some of the strange, weird, and justified tickets that people have gotten in recent days.
Weird
Max.
is the correct term, Trudy. We'll get to that one at the end here, but we'll start off with a couple of obvious ones here. We start off this week on July 28th at around 3 a.m. in Curie-Labelle in Laval on Autoroute 15 heading north. A man of 21 years old from Laval decided it was a great idea to drive in a 100 zone at 210 kilometers per hour. In a 100 zone on a 3 a.m. on July 28th, he was caught by provincial police. The ticket, $2,068.
Good.
And 24 demerit points.
Good.
His driver's license has been suspended for a total of 7 days.
Not long enough.
So 210 in a 100 zone. We then take you in the area of Montmagny on Autoroute 20 East. That happened on July 28th as well at around 10 a.m., where a driver was caught going 152 kilometers an hour in a 100 zone. So he was technically going slower than the first one, but still going 50 kilometers per hour over the speed limit. That cost him $730 and was also had to get his permit suspended because of the offense. The next one we'll head to Vancouver for the final 2 stories here on my roundup. The first one will go to e-scooters. We've been talking a lot about e-scooters in the past couple weeks here on the Elias Macco Show. I know the Montreal firefighters, as we'll try to get to talk to them next week, trying to give a little bit of warning as well on lithium batteries on those e-scooters, and potentially could be a little bit dangerous. But this one goes more into the speeding category once again, as a person was caught speeding on an e-scooter and was fined more than $1,000 on July 26th. In this case, the rider was going 65 kilometers per hour, which is 40 kilometers faster than what is allowed to pilot those e-scooters in Vancouver. Given that the device is classified as a motor vehicle, the Vancouver Police Department explained. So the rider was fined $598 for having no insurance, $276 for having no license, and $138 for driving above the speed limit. So the main takeaway here is it actually is cheaper for the ticket for the speed limit. The problem was they didn't have a license and didn't have insurance because of how fast they were going.
Wow. Okay.
You can't do that at that point. And the final one for this week for myself is a driver out in British Columbia decided that he had a great excuse for speeding. He was taken by RCMP officers, decided to stop the man who was going 111 kilometers per hour in a 60 zone in Port Coquitlam in British Columbia. I believe I pronounced that correctly. His argument, but sir, I was trying to get rid of the water droplets on my windshield.
Valid.
I needed
doesn't have wipers?
I needed to use the car to go fast to use it as a wind tunnel. That was his excuse to British Columbia RCMP. As you can imagine, it did not fly with our RCMP. His car has been impounded for a period of 7 days, and the car will have plenty of time to dry over there.
Yeah. What a dope. I can't believe, Andrew Malik, that you said valid.
Hey, it rains a lot down there. I know about it.
All right. When we come back after our traffic report, which hopefully doesn't involve any wacky people speeding to get the water droplets off their windshield, I'm going to tell you about an experience that I had and my daughter had. We both had separate brushes with crazy speeders in the last week. And hers ended with a crash, not her vehicle, but her story. And I'll tell you that coming up after we go.
Where the noise stops and the conversation begins.
Welcome to the Graham Richardson Show.
It's national conversations, from major policy shifts to the fun, unexpected trends and friends everyone will be talking about. The Graham Richardson Show, today at noon, right here on CJAD 800.
CA.
Traffic Court. Elias Makos considers your case on CJAD 800.
And boy, oh boy, would Judge Trudy have appreciated the ability to throw the gavel at a couple of drivers who were in my orbit, or my daughter's orbit, over the past week. Last week, I was driving to work. It was around... I was listening to Andrew and James during the 5 o'clock package, so it would have been maybe about 20 after 5 in the morning. So traffic picking up a little bit, but still, not bumper to bumper, not heavy at all. On the Ville Marie, approaching the Ville Marie tunnel, and a driver was weaving in and out of traffic at extremely high speed. Now, I was probably doing 95 kilometers an hour on that stretch of road, and he must have passed me maybe doing 130, maybe even faster. And because he was weaving in and out of traffic, he was having trouble controlling his vehicle, and he came really close up the side of me and just roared up the side of me, kind of with his wheels just a little bit in my lane. And it startled me so much. It's a wonder I didn't lose control and crash. And I think that actually happens more than we might think, because very soon after that, I just happened to be on the internet and I saw some random video of exactly that happening. A speeder coming up very, very fast behind another driver on the road, passing very close. And the other driver was so startled that they kind of jerked the wheel. They went out of control and went off the road. So that was my experience. I would have gladly seen that guy ticketed and had his license suspended. My daughter was driving back from Toronto on the 401 the last Friday, and traffic was pretty heavy. So this particular speeder decided that the way he was going to get around everybody was simply to drive on the shoulder at 150 kilometers an hour. So, there are cars here and there in both lanes as proceeding along the 401 just on this side of Kingston. And this guy blows by her on the shoulder, keeps going on the shoulder at a high speed. Then he hits a stretch where right up against the shoulder is a guardrail, and he ends up sideswiping the guardrail, struggling for control, veering back into the travel lane, and he kept going. So my daughter has one of those, fancy communication systems. It's all tied into her car. So with the one button call 911 thing. So she deployed that, and she's on the phone with 911 reporting this dangerous driver, where maybe about 3 minutes into the call, and she sent us the audio of the call and her dash cam video of this. It was very frightening, front and back dash cam, so we could see this guy blowing by her. And she's on the line with the 911 operator, and then you hear her say, "Oh my God, he's off the road. He's off the road. He's off the road. He crashed." And the car had gone off the road, rolled, and was resting on its side in a grassy area on the right-hand side of the road. And so, the 911 operator said, "Okay, don't worry, stay safe, stay in your lane. There's police are dispatched," and so on. But she, had to supply her dash cam footage to the police. And she had said the car was so badly damaged from the rolling that as she shot past it, she didn't know whether the driver had actually survived. It was smoking. The vehicle was smoking. Really, really scary stuff. So would have thrown the gavel at that guy too. Andrew Malik happened to have been traveling the 401 recently and would like to share an observation. Andrew, come on in here.
Yes, so a couple things going on here. First, it was my first time driving from Montreal to Toronto, my first 401 experience. I don't know how I feel about this, so I want to bring you guys into this. There was a cop dressed in green hiding in a bush in the middle of the highway. And my thought is, at what point are you just lurking a little bit too much? Like, they're staying a little too hidden. They're faking it too much. But anyways, as I'm watching that, someone rips past me. I'm going a little over the speed limit, I'll be honest. They're at least going 170, 180 kilometers an hour, like fast. The cop does absolutely nothing. Proceeds, I can see behind me, to pull someone over going about half the speed that the person zoomed past them at.
Grrr.
Like, you had it right there. You impounded the car. You take their license, but no, you went and you got someone that's just going 10 kilometers over behind me, and you just let the speeder go.
Was he wearing like the infamous camouflage pants that we've seen in Montreal with the firefighters?
Yeah, the bright pink camouflage. No, it looked like he was in like the military sort of style outfits, just hiding in the bush. I could just see his little speed gun just pointing out. I don't know. I feel like they're hiding a little bit too much at that point.
Yeah. Although there are cameras everywhere now, so, I shrug my shoulders. I think that's the wave of the future, concealed enforcement. What do you think, Max? Was that?
I mean, for sure, he got the wrong person, to say the least. Although, granted, I wonder if his mentality was, this guy's speeding, but he's going too fast. I'll never catch him. Sees the other car going a tiny bit fast, a tiny bit slower. Okay, he goes, okay, I have time to get into my car, and I'll catch them instead, knowing that the other one's going 170.
Yeah. Well, most police forces too have directives on when to break off pursuits now too. Yeah. So if someone is really going fast and is driving erratically in a dangerous manner, they just back off. They figure that it's better to let the person go, so they'll stop driving like a crazy person. And
yeah, I believe the protocol is if they're anywhere in a certain radius of a residential area, they have to break off chase because of the danger that might ensue.
Of course, it doesn't always stop them. We wondered if the guy that Kaylee saw who came up on the shoulder, whether we had a lot of questions about that guy and actually how long he had been speeding, because when Kaylee pulled off in order to save her dash cam footage, another driver pulled off and came up to her, knocked on her window, and he said, "Did you call the police about that? I have been seeing that guy driving that way ever since Toronto." And by this time they were on the east side of Kingston. So I have questions. I have a feeling the car was stolen, and I have a feeling the guy knew that there were cops looking for him, because probably other motorists had called in a description earlier on the 401, so he knew the cops were out for him. So
it was the same guy that blew past me, probably just turned around. start going the other way.
Yeah, you never know
Exactly.
it. Never know. This texter says, be careful on Lakeshore where there are blind turns. I had to speed up a little bit to get around bicycles not going single file. Otherwise, I would have risked getting hit from behind or a head-on collision. I got a ticket for that, lost some points, but no one was hurt. Asked the policeman if he saw all the bikes not riding single file and going through the stop signs, and he said yes. A week later, they put in a bike lane. No. Well, I guess progress takes many forms. This texter says, in your case, Andrew, maybe what the cop did was to punish the guy profiting from the first speeder, thinking he would not get caught because the cop would go after the first egregious speeder.
I gotta be honest, I think I was going faster than the guy who got pulled over. Like, just imagine being him. You have two people passing you. One, the first guy going fast, and then you get pulled over.
Yeah. I know, it's grrr. Oh. It's rage-induced. I understand. I think our sympathy is with you, even though you were speeding. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right. After the 11 o'clock news, in our Cool Jobs series, we are going to speak to someone who is a ghostwriter. That's coming up.
You're listening to the voice of Montreal.
News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
An iHeartRadio station.
Hey, I'm Ruby Carr, the host of the podcast Encore. Check out our brand new episodes featuring music from the show that everyone is reheating as we speak, Heated Rivalry. Join me as I go behind the songs that brought Shane and Elia together. I'll tell you the stories of Feist, My Moon, My Man, Wolf Parade's I'll Believe in Anything, and Tattoos, All the Things She Said, and how they all became a part of this global phenomenon. Stream Encore on iHeartRadio, Crave, or wherever you get your podcasts.